is not a given part of McArdle's. It's something we have to manage, but it's not something that we should accept as being part of McArdle's. So the idea is to undertake our activities without pain rather than managing it after the event. And this is Dan. You know these two, Dan and Stacey, while they were on day 4 of Walk Over Wales. The first point is when you go to a gym or a personal trainer, you very often get this quoted: "No pain, no gain." They expect you to push yourself hard and to actually be making your muscles hurt, and that, they say, is when you're starting to benefit. But of course for us, our McArdle's pain comes much sooner than the sort of pain they're talking about. So we can't get to that level, you know, and the pain that we have is definitely not gain. It's a significant problem. You know, so always ignore that saying and don't let somebody push you harder than you know you should be going. I think I talked about this in the other presentation, didn't I, this diagram? So this is just to quickly remind you that we need to sense when the sensations are starting to mount up and we're feeling something, and we need to respond by slowing down or pausing for a rest and not pressing on past the red line into the sort of phase of damage, because that will then accelerate the amount of damage very, very quickly. So we need to get good at recognising the early signs and slowing down or pausing for a rest before it gets bad. I don't know what other people think, but I remember as a child, I felt as though my legs were turning to lead. It was just getting so heavy that I couldn't move. It was like this. People did also describe the muscles getting tight, which is like the start of a cramp. And of course, your heart rate goes up. It's called an inappropriate heart rate response, which I find quite funny. And increased breathing. Does everybody agree with the limbs feeling heavy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is an example that we did on the walking course one time. This was actually 410 steps that I persuaded people to go down so that they could turn around at the bottom and come back up. The strange thing was that using all the techniques of going slowly and pausing whenever you needed and not being under any pressure to rush or anything. This is Gabby from Germany, but there was somebody else who was struggling a bit more, and I was at the back with her, and when we got to the top, I discovered them all standing around talking about how much they'd enjoyed coming up 410 steps. So I think that it really is key that if you go slowly, go at your own pace, be aware of these sensations, take a pause when you need to, then it is possible to do as many stairs or steps as we need. Of course, if we do more than we're normally used to, we can get aching muscles just like anybody else would. But this is the sort of thing that comes on at the end of towards the end of activity or after activity. An aching sensation, a bit of sort of soreness in the muscles is something that we can do well on the walking course, because everybody does the same walk and then they can compare symptoms and talk about it, and it's much easier to understand than just having your own one mind and one body. You're talking to other people about it to understand what is normal pain after activity and what is McArdle's. The real problem of McArdle's is that it happens when we're doing the activity. When we're pressing on too hard, we're going to get pain starting then, and that it would just get worse the more we press on. So that's McArdle's pain. Whereas if you've been walking for a few hours and you're only used to walking for half an hour, then you're likely to get some aching or soreness in your muscles later on. Just want to pick up the things that really are not McArdle's pain so that you can ignore those things. So first of all, if you're at rest, if you're not doing any activity, it's not going to be McArdle's pain. I put this little footnote on in the walking course in Germany last week because somebody pointed out that she sometimes, if she's in an awkward position or leaning against something, it's a sort of static exertion of a sort, that she can get pain from that, and that is McArdle's pain. But basically, if you're not active, it's not going to be McArdle's pain. Pain that's permanent all the time, chronic pain that's just there when you haven't done anything, it's just all day long, every day, that's not McArdle's. If you're not having muscle exertion, that's rather like the first point, that is, it's the exertion that causes us pain in McArdle's. Elsewhere in the body than skeletal muscle, obviously if you've got pain in your gut or you've got headaches, whatever, these are not directly related to McArdle's. McArdle's is in the skeletal muscle. And delayed onset muscle soreness, something I'm still trying to understand really. This is something that everybody can get, and it appears that the main feature of it is that it comes on probably the next day after the activity that you've done and goes on for several days. There are two circumstances where it would be reasonable to take pain medication. Obviously the normal muscle pain that everybody would get when they do more than they're used to, that would be number one. And number two is if we make a mistake and we accidentally overdo it and we've got pain that lasts for more than a minute or two, if it's going to go on for the rest of the day or something, then obviously you want to take pain medication. But it's very important, we'll go on to the next slide, that we want to avoid having pain medication in our body when we're still active, because that is going to mask the signals that we need to know how to respond. Following on from that, one of the worst things that can happen is people then think that their pain is so bad that they need stronger and stronger painkillers, and unfortunately opioid-based pain medication isn't effective in the long term. You get used to it and it stops working for you. You tend to get people getting increased dosage, and then of course they become addicted to it, they can't get off it, and then they're also damaging their muscles again and again every day. And again, the typical reaction is, well, my McArdle's is worse than yours. It's the worst case in the world, and I can't possibly come off this pain medication. But actually, the pain medication is what's really creating their severe problems. I'm talking about people avoiding pain, obviously because it's painful, but there are other reasons to avoid it as well, and that is because we think that people who've done pain on a regular basis, day in, day out, for year in, year out, they have significant muscle damage that's sort of accumulated over the years. We can have an episode of rhabdomyolysis and fully recover from it, but if you keep doing it again and again and again, it's surely going to damage those muscles. And in doing that, people do end up with weakness and muscle wasting. So it's a good idea to really learn how to manage our activity to avoid the pain in the first place.